door opening with animations, and we build on it from there. From there, we make it into a physical door, like so. And from there, we make it into a door you can kick open. A door locked animation, it's just there. And if you pick up a key, then we can unlock the door. That's what. And then if you're running at speed, then we can just boot open the door. So we're going to cover all of that in today's tutorial. It's going to be quite long. Special thanks to 3Peat Games for Spartan Kick. I'll leave a link to his. Get the free animations for the Spartan Kick. That was really appreciated. And again, when we get to 400 subs, then we'll give this away. So thank you very much. First things first, we're just going to create a new folder for our door. And we're going to create a new blueprint class and a new actor. We'll call this BP door. And then we're going to come to our player and we're going to get a button. So I'm just going to choose one and get a keyboard event. And then this is just a super basic interaction system. So we're going to do a spear trace by channel, get actor, location, and plug that into start. And then we're going to get actor rotation. We're going to get the forward vector. And then from there, we're going to times that and right click this bottom pin, turn it into a single float, times that by 150. And then from there, we're going to add that to that, like so, and that's going to go into the end. So actor location into start, get actor rotation, get forward vector, times that by 150 as the distance that we need to check in front of us, and then plug that in, add those two together and plug it into end. And we'll make this 20 as a radius. From return value, press B. From out hit, break hit result. So we've got a branch, and then we're going to need to create an interface. So we're going to go into our content drawer, blueprint interface, BPI interact, open that up. This first function is our interact function just here in the hit actor in our third person character. We're just going to call interact message. So this is just going to say that this is just going to look 150 centimeters in front of us. Anything that it hits is going to try and call the interact interface, and then we're going to implement that interface inside our door. But if we go into our BP door, if we go to class settings, and then we go to interfaces, we can add our BPI interact here. And then if we double click it, then we have an interact interface. And every interactable that you have in your game can use this, and they can have bespoke interactions on them. So from a super basic level, we're going to, so we need to add two static meshes, like so. One needs to be the frame of the door, and the other one needs to be the door middle, like so. And again, I've got the files for this specific door linked below, so you can follow along and use this specific door if you want to. Okay, cool. So from our interact function, on a super basic level, we're going to add a timeline. Call that door opening. Open that up, change that timeline to 1, and add a float track. Call this rotation timeline. We're going to right click, add a curve, so it starts at 0, goes to 0. Right click, add a curve, so that it goes from 1 to value. So in 1 second, it's going to go straight up from 1 to 1. You can right click this and change it so it's a smoother transition if you want to. From there, from the rotation timeline, we are going to lerp, and we're going to move A. So you can press Control, grab the mouse, move it into the alpha, and we're going to move from 0 to -90. We get the door middle, so we'll just rename that to door middle, and get door middle, and we're going to set relative rotation. We're going to split that, put that into the Z, like so. So now when we interact with the door, it'll open like a door. I'll just show you that works. So we click play from here, select one, and that's it. Our door's open. Simple as that. But it's a bit boring. First off, we're going to create a custom event. So right click, custom event, and call that event open door. Put that into play, and then disconnect this event here. Now, the easiest one that we can do is we can come down here, we can add a variable and say door locked. And if we go to the details, we can make that instance editable, add expose on spawn. And we can get that and say if it's not locked, then do a branch. If it's not locked, then open the door, like so. But if it is locked, then we can play a montage. You can get player character, get component by class, get the skeletal mesh, plug that into mesh, and we can get our hit montage just here. So now if I select this door, go to details and tick it to be locked, I can click play, and now it's locked. It plays the montage, and if I untick it, press play, now it opens as normal. Okay, so let's make that a bit more fancy. Let's add a key. So we're going to make a blueprint actor and make a key, BP key. And we're just going to, for quickness, we're going to add a cube of that. And again, we're going to come to class settings and add our interact interface. BPI interact, get our interact interface. We're going to make a print statement that says key collected, and then we're going to call destroy actor. So this is our very basic key. We're going to put that out into the world, like so. And then we're going to come back to our door, go back to variables. We're going to add an actor, because it might not be a key, it might be a note. We're just going to label this one key, because it is a key. I'm going to make that instance editable, add expose on spawn again. Go back to the level. We can select this, and now we have the option for key. So I'm going to make sure the door's locked. We're going to select the actor with our little dropper. So now we can see that this door is linked to this key. And then back in our door, on begin play, we're going to call an event dispatcher. So we're going to get the key. We're going to bind to undestroyed, like so. And from event, we're going to add custom event, and we're going to call that change locked door. And all that's going to do is set our locked door to be unlocked. So let's show you. Play from here. Press 1 to interact. We've got a key. And now our door is unlocked. Let me show you without collecting the key. So the door is locked. We know because it plays our animation. We collect the key, go back, and there's our door unlocked. Let's level this up a little bit more. We can close this door back on itself. So from finished, we can put a delay, like so, of 1 second. We can get our door opening here, the timeline, and we can say reverse. And that will reverse this timeline. So now we have a door that opens, and then 1 second, a door that closes. What if we want our door to have physics? So once it's opened, or if it isn't locked, we can just run through it with physics. We're going to get door locked, get door middle, and we're going to say set simulate physics on door middle. And we're going to make that equal whether the door is locked or not, with a not ball. So if the door is not locked, then this will simulate physics. If the door is locked, then it won't simulate physics, so we can't run into it. And then we have a full video on how to simulate physics, so I'm not going to waste much time explaining how to set up a physics constraint. But we're going to set up a physics constraint on here. We're going to limit that, lock that, make it 90. And then we're going to make the door twist and swing on 50. And we're just going to make sure the component name door middle. We go here, we can check that. And then this little red semicircle is set up ready for us. So we also just need to make sure our collision is custom so that it ignores our physics body, and our door middle is set up as a physics actor with simulate physics turned on. Door middle, go to the constraints, put the angular dampening at 10, so we know. And now a door that closes on its own, but we can also activate it like that. But as you see, it goes a little bit crazy and then fights to open. So we'll fix that. To get our door middle, set simulate physics here to no, and then on completed, I'm going to set simulate physics to yes. So then we set our simulate physics before we reverse the door. And we're just going to put a do once on this reverse. We don't want it to keep looping. From this reset, we're just going to make a custom event. Call this reverse timeline reset. And at the start here, we're just going to call reverse timeline reset, like so. And then from third person character, we can play this, open the door, and then we've got a reset with physics. And then if we just want to open the door with our character, we can do. So if we get our static mesh middle from our door, so door middle, find it, drag the static mesh out into the world, go to selection, go to fracture. We will create a new fracture. We'll save it inside the geometry collision, and you can choose how you want to fracture it here, whether you want it to be uniform, cluster, radial, slice brick, mesh, whatever. I think cluster is probably best because then it clusters where you kicked it. We can play with these cluster settings and set them how we want. I'm just going to click fracture, do that. And then we can just delete that from the world. If we go back to our door, we can add a geometry collection just here. And it needs to be parent to the top one, the frame, not the middle. Okay. And then if we create a new variable, we can create a destroyable variable. And then if the door is locked, we want to play this. But if the door is destroyable, we want to play a different animation. To play this animation, which is our Spartan kick from 3P. We're just going to open that up. And we need to right click, add a notify, a montage notify, and we're going to call that kick. So, and then from here, we're going to make another custom event. We're going to call that destroy door. And we are going to get door middle, set its visibility to be not visible, get our geometry collection, set the visibility of that to be visible. So this needs to be default turned off on the visibility. So select geometry collision, go to visible, turn it off. We need to make our door middle collision. So we're going to set collision enabled, make it no collision, just as a bit of a catch-all. Then we're going to spawn actor from class. And this will be the master field, like so. And then this is going to need a location to spawn in. So we come to our frame and we're going to click add. I'm going to add an arrow, like so. And this is going to be used later as well, so this is useful to have. So an arrow is a scene component that's super lightweight. It just gives you locations. So you can also just add a scene as well, but I like an arrow because it tells me which way things are facing. Like so. And then we are going to go back to our event graph. So we want this arrow to be facing the door at minus 90 degrees. Minus 90, like so. And then when we go back to our event graph, we can get arrow and we can get world location and plug that into there. And then from our master event, we're going to call CE trigger. And that's going to spawn this master field, which destroys our geometry collection. And then from the top on notify begin, we're just going to do a switch on name and then add the kick to the switch. And then we're going to call destroy door. Our geometry collision, we've got no rest collision. So we're just going to choose our geometry collision, come to third person, press 1. And that is our door fully destroyed, like so. To stop your camera freaking out, come to your geometry collection, come down to collision profile per level and add 2, and the second one, or index 1, just change that to ragdoll and make sure it's spelled the same as here, RAGDOLL, and that will change it to ragdoll so it won't interact with your camera so much. Sweet. So right now we have this problem where if I just any sort of distance or any sort of rotation to the door, or even if it's been destroyed or whatever, then it will let me commit an animation. We're going to open our banging on the door animation, and we're going to add this motion warping, but we need to add it also to our character. So if it's not enabled already, then go to your plugins, type in motion warping, add the motion warping plugin, it will restart, and then come to your character, click add, and add motion warping in here. And that's all you need for your character. So again, we need to get character, get component by class, and get motion warping from location and rotation. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to add to the frame skeletal mesh. I'm going to make that our mannequin. We're going to use an animation asset. We're going to make that our mannequin. So money. I'm going to use, make sure you get the right one. And we're going to use the hit just here. We're just going to move it so that it's in the right spot. So it looks like it's banging on our door. There we go. And that we're happy with it where it is. Yep, so that seems good and proper. And then we're going to get skeletal mesh. And we're going to get location. Well, that is the target location. And get rotation. I put that as the target rotation. And then if we open up our animation, we can right click, add notify state, add this motion warping, and this is the entire time that we want things to be motion warped. And then we'll open up this modifier, make a warp target name, so I've called mine knock, copy that. We want to warp the translation, ignore the Z, warp the rotation, so it rotates. And we want the rotation type to be facing. So character rotates to face the sync point. We want to rotate it at a fixed rate, and 50 and 45 are the good rates that I've found. So once we do that there, we plug that in so that it plays straight away. And now you can see that I am moving ever so slightly into the right place to play our animation as well. So no matter where I am or what I hit, I am moving into the spot. But that isn't really quick enough or good enough, and it only moves slowly. So what we need to do is add a way of moving faster to that location before we start to warp. So we're going to create a new custom event, and we call that move and rotate. This custom event is going to set timer by event, and it is from event. We just need to create another custom event. We'll call that movement rotate event. This needs to be looping, and it needs to run every 0.01 seconds. Promote this set timer to a handle, to a variable, and we're going to call it move handle, like so. And from here, we're going to get a branch, and we're going to get player character, and we're going to get world location of the mesh, and we're going to check if that is equal to our arrow, which is why I said we needed it earlier, and that's world location, and we're going to put 40 in as the allowed variance just there. And if that is true, then we're going to get this move handle and we're going to clear and invalidate it like so. So that stops it moving. And if it's false, then we're going to do a simple move to location, and we're going to get the world location, and we're going to get the player controller like so. So now we're moving to the location, but we're not rotating. So we need to add a timeline once we reach the location. So we'll call that rotate timeline. And again, we're going to come in here, add a track, make it 1, add a time of 0 and 0, add a new time of 1 and 1. So right click to add those times. We're going to make it flatter so it's smoother. We're going to lerp. So lerp rotator this time. And we're going to get player character, get rotation. So, and then arrow, and we're going to get relative rotation. So we'll tick the shortest path, get player character again, and we're going to set actor rotation. And click update, like so. And then on finished, we're going to want to play the montage. So we're just going to take this away. We're going to make a custom event. We'll call that play montages. Connect that to here. And then from false here, instead of playing the montage, we're going to do move. We're going to do the move and rotate, not the movement event. Shimmy that over here so we've got a bit more room. And then from back down to finished, we're going to do play montages. Just like in the level, we're also going to need a nav mesh that allows our player to automatically move around. We can press P to see where the mesh is. And we just need to expand it so that it covers the door and a little bit wider. It's probably too wide, to be fair, because our character will only be able to move in those locations to the door. We also need to select the door and type in, go to the frames, and can ever affect untick those until it is solid to the location, not the mesh. And then when we play, we can do this. You see, it starts to warp to the door. It motion warps into the correct spot, and that is that. We just need to make it so that all our animations do what we need. Do what we need them to do. So we're going to take the switch from our top animation and we're going to add it to our montage event, our play montages. like so. And then where we are calling play montages, we're going to put the warp target name into our play montage event here. And we're going to put the montage to play also in here. So we can select them. And then instead of doing this here, we're going to do play montages. And then this one is the kick. So if we come to the kick, we've got our kick name here. So we just need to copy that. And then we need our motion warping event as well. So right click, add motion warping, same as what we did before. Make sure you give it a warp target name. I've just used the same kick. Warp translation, ignore Z, warp target, facing, slope with clamp rate, 50 and 45. And then put that just here. We can put the warp target name into move and rotate and the montage as well. So it passes those details through so we can reuse that for multiple. So this one was the knock or the fail. So like so. So just open that up. Get the knock. Come back to the door. Put that there. So we now have the kick and the move and rotate. So we can do move and rotate. And that will then rotate our kick as well. Just like so. And then we've just got our normal open door. So we can have a new move and rotate to there. Change this to our other montage that we have. And make sure we've got the right name. So this one is on open. Like so. And then we also have a different switch. So if we just add a new one here, call this open, and we can call open door from that montage notify as well. So now we've got door locked, door unlocked. He moves to the location, he presses the button, the jobs are good in. So if we try and do it from here, he's going to move across, get his key out, try and open the door. Animation's a bit funky, but it'll work. Like so. We've got the physics actor there as well. If we add any damage, event any damage to the door, event damage, then we can do a spawn destructible or destroy door, or whatever it is. Destroy door, and that'll do the same thing. So you can attack it with a weapon, apply damage to the hit actor, and it will destroy the door. Our kick, our knock, and our open. But what if we only want to do the kick if we are going over a certain speed? So if we're in at the door, so we can do a get player character. We can do get component by class. Get component by class. We can get the movement component, the character movement component. We can get max walk speed or velocity, and we can check if it is greater or equal than, say, 600. And we can make it so that if you are running at the door, then do a branch. If this is true, then it does this. So if the door is not locked but open, then we are running over 600, then we will destroy the door if the door is also destroyable. So put an and boolean here. So if the door is destroyable and we're moving fast, we're sprinting at it, we can just kick it down if we want to, or we can use its physics. If the door is locked but it is destroyable, we can kick it down. If the door is locked and isn't destroyable, we knock on the door and make a noise. Just need to make sure that when we're trying to destroy the door, we go to a branch, that we're only destroying it if it's destroyable. The other thing to check is that the door is closed. So we're going to say door open, and this doesn't need to be instance editable or exposed on spawn. So once we have opened the door, depending on the direction of this, so we'll get an enum, say equal to forward, and then if this is going forward, then the door is opened, and if it's going backwards, then the door is not opened, because we only want to be able to kick the door if the door is not opened. This branch, just going to add another branch, say door open not, and connect that there. And if that is true, so if the door is not open, then we go to the next one. If the door is open, then we don't kick it or play the montage. And make sure that we are setting the door to be open down here, inside when we destroy it. So we can also make it so that you can kick the door but not destroy it. So if it's destroyable, it does this. And if it's not destroyable, then it just opens the door instead. You just kick it open. And then we don't need to check if it is destroyable here. Like that. So this will only check if you're running at speed. The next bit requires a collision box. So we're going to add some door sounds to the door, but we need a collision box to just check that we're overlapping and trigger the event. Just like so. So then on this trigger, we're going to put add on component begin overlap. If this is equal to get player character, branch that out. Then we're going to create a custom event. It's going to be play SFX. I'm going to call play SFX. This custom event is going to have a timer by event. which is going to repeat every second. It's going to be a custom event, and it's going to be looping. I'm going to promote that timer to a variable and call it SFX timer. And then on the box, on component end overlap, as long as it's still the player, so equal get player character get branch. Then we're going to call on true clear and invalidate clock timer, like so. There we go. Just move that out to the side. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get the door middle, the physics angular velocity in degrees, and split it. We're going to take the z value and find a nearly equal float, and the tolerance of that is going to be 5 either way. So we're just going to change that to 5. So this is going to check what the angular velocity is in degrees and compare that to 0. And if it is 5 either way, so -5 plus 5, then it will play a sound. So we're going to do a branch. We're going to make a do once node so that it only triggers the one time, because this will repeat itself. But we only want this sound to trigger once. We're going to spawn sound attached, like so. And we're going to make this into a variable. This will be our door slamming sound. I'm going to promote the return value to a variable. This will be our SFX. And then attach to a component, we're just going to attach it to the frame. We're not going to attach it to the middle. And just to make sure we're going to get SFX, we're going to convert that to a validated branch. And if it's valid, we're going to destroy the component and plug the SFX into that. And then we're going to destroy that into spawn, and is not valid into spawn as well. And then, because we're going to reuse this quite a bit, we're going to collapse this to a function called the function spawn SFX. Open up the function and pass the sound into the start and the attach into the start. Although normally those would be the same. Go back to the event graph, get the frame and shove it into there, and then get the door slamming sound and put that into there. Okay, so now this is going to check every second while we're still inside the collision box. So once we pass through the door, it will stop. It will check how fast the middle of the door is going, and if it's equal to more or less than 5. Sorry, if it's 5 more or less than 0. If that's true, then that means that it's hit 0 or it's close to 0, and we can play this door slamming sound. If that's false, then we're going to play a new sound. So we're going to spawn sound, and we're going to play, and we're going to get this again, get the z velocity and check if it's greater than or less than 10 or minus 10. I'm going to make that into an OR. Make that into a branch and connect the false to the branch. And if it is, then that is going to be our creak sound. And we're going to attach that to the middle. So now if it's playing the creak sound, that means that it has already played the door slam sound. So we're going to reset the event based on that. Custom event. So I'm going to add custom event. Call that reset slam sound. And what this does is it allows the door to do this. So it won't play on this because the momentum is not good enough. We open it, it goes to 0, it plays the slam sound, it comes out, it resets the slam sound, goes back and plays it again. So rather than, it gives you a more accurate door sound, which is something I never thought I'd say. So reset the slam sound. So this will play on our physics door perfectly fine, but it won't play on our timeline at the top. So we need to go to the timeline at the top, and we need to call spawn SFX again. And this one's going to be, the top one is going to be our creak sound. And again, it's going to be door middle. So door frame. And we're going to put a do once node here so that this doesn't play multiple times. And we need to have a custom event to reset this, reset timeline, creak sound. So, and then when this ends, we're going to reset the timeline creak sound, spawn our own SFX as well, which will be the door slamming sound. Like so.